Hey guys, what's going on? It's Talk Forest TV here. We are back. We have got Matt here who runs Forest fan base, I believe.
Certainly, for my sins.
How you doing, Matt?
Yeah, not too bad, Dan. Nice to meet you. I enjoyed all your songs from the old days when we lived in Florida. We used to always tune in and to those.
Yeah, it's quite hard to try and find new songs at the minute.
Before you knew that Samba So was not Samba Sao and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. It's hard to get excited about much at the moment, isn't it? You're waiting for a goal and things like this to sort of see some sort of happy pictures of players and things like that. There's not a lot.
No, I mean it's the massive game tomorrow, Forest Derby, and there isn't much excitement at the minute going into it, especially being a Forest fan and not being able to have a shot on target. So
celebrate corners, stuff like that. But yeah, it's the same old every week, isn't it? It seems like at the moment. Tight games, we can defend all right. We always have done, really, ever since lockdown started. But creating opportunities and scoring goals, I don't know. It's just not. We're not doing enough of it, are we?
Nah, I mean we were like the lowest chances yet last season. I mean, we seem to
we're aiming to beat that this season. Yeah. I don't know. That's the thing with the Hughton debate. I just don't understand the patience when there's so little progress. You know, I'd like to see something. I'd like to be able to say, oh, at least Alex Myton's improved. At least, we can see more progress. We can see he's working things out. He's making changes. But he always seems to sort of go back to the same old formula every time. You think, oh God, well surely after that game he'll have figured out you shouldn't play him or maybe play him in this way. But he always seems to revert back to plan A every time and not divert from it very often.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, tomorrow's game will be a massive game for Hughton. It might either come out of Pep Guardiola or it might be a Chris
Hughton. Yeah, that's become the default kind of crap option. Well, I think tomorrow will be different because I think the fact you can't really exactly motivate the team, I think the event will motivate the team for itself. So I would personally think tomorrow is going to be hopefully one of those rare exceptions where, expect the unexpected. So I may be wrong. His team selection might pretty much mean we can't get far away from what we've seen for the last year. But maybe, I think that the players will be motivated. And it's the first one I'm actually going to see at Derby. So it's going to be an interesting one for me. And it's a pity, you're not going to be as hopeful about our prospects on our own merits tomorrow as you would be normally. Normally, you always fancy beating them. But tomorrow, well, a draw will be a victory. And realistically, I expect us to, there only to be 1 or 2 goals in the game. And it's, a 0-0, a 1-1, a 1-0 either way. It's on the cards, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. I mean, I've been talking to quite a lot of fans. A lot of fans are expecting a 0-0 or a 1-0 either side. I mean, I know Derby's not a team to score many goals as well, so.
No, exactly. No, they're not scary, but well, I don't know. The whole season it's been the same thing. I don't know. I'm exasperated by the whole thing, really. I'm just, in all my years supporting Forest, I'd just like to see them trying to do something, and I really can't see any progress. And okay, you're hampered by signings and all this kind of stuff, but I don't know. All the good players we signed turn into bad players fairly quickly, pretty much. So in that system, it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Playing a different formation will be a complete nice thing because obviously going against Derby, if we do play 4-4-2, which for a lot of fans we're like, but would you like to see like a 4-4-2 against Derby tomorrow?
Well, possibly, and when we have the likes of Worrall and Mbay so fit, I mean, we could think about playing 3 at the back with the lack of the fullbacks. So that's another option. But he typically doesn't like to do any of those sort of things. Basically, we have to solve the conundrum of creating chances. I think Grabban's one of those strikers. He kind of comes back and helps and does work on the wings, picks up the ball, retains possession. You can't kind of blame him for that. But he's not. He needs someone in the in the number 10 role, and obviously it's Carvalho is the typical guy you're going to think about, or Garner and Colback were pushed forward in midweek out of the three of them. Both of them probably aren't perfectly suited to it, but personally, I'd like to see Garner given the role on occasion, and Carvalho, if ideally, if you think you're actually going to win the game and you've got serious prospects. But I don't know. I mean, to me, there was a lot of mistakes from the start. Personally, I think you should have kept Sammy Amiobi. You probably should have kept Christie, because they would have been kind of no-brainers. It would have been easy, just check the boxes. Having said that, now I think Back's a brilliant prospect, and that's a really big plus this season. And I'd like to see him persevered with, just the same way as Cash was. He's not a liability at all, and we've found someone there, so stick with him. And personally, I'd like to also see Forner given a chance. And it's a shame. I feel at the end of last season we shouldn't have been playing the likes of Freeman, Knockaert, all the lone players, and we should have been giving those kind of guys a bit of a taste of first team action, and we'd be better set now, because they still haven't played. We're playing the cup game, and there's 6 or 7 people who have played like one game between the lot of them. So I'd like to think they'd all have had 5 or 6 games. I mean, Myton's worth, not Myton, Jono's worth 8-10 million, and he's only played 8 games. So give him all. We could pick and choose if they're all just as good as him.
Yeah, I mean, would you throw all the youngsters in, even though that he had, bar like Jono, Martin, but in Arena, would you start all the youngsters tomorrow? Or would you mix them in with your older players, as I call them?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably pick Taylor up front, I think, just because he links up better and he keeps, he kind of keeps the defence busy. He hasn't had his best time, but I think he's played better for us this season than he did previously. So I think, you don't know what his future is, but, let's find out. I'd play him tomorrow. The midfield, oh dear, it's tricky, isn't it? Personally, I'd pick Forner and Colback if you left it to me, but there's no way that's going to happen. I don't think either of them will get picked. So I'm sure he'll pick Yates with, Cafu, probably. Garner and Cafu, probably. Don't you think? And realistically, I think that's what he's going to do. Unfortunately, or he might pick Yates, Colback, and Garner. That's the other alternative. It's going to be one of those two. The wings, you can pick a mix, can't you? I mean, Myton, Zink, you think would definitely play, and then it's a question of whether you play Myton or Johnson. You think he's going to play Garner, although I thought Garner looked a bit gassed on Tuesday. I don't know about you. Did you think he looked off the pace a little bit? He's still kind of good, but he just looked a little bit match unfit. So I think he won't last much beyond 60 minutes if they pick him. So I don't know. Normally you'd say play him to start. We'd give him 60 minutes, then bring on Carvalho to win the game, after you've, but that's not what he's going to do. He's going to bring on Cafu to close the game down or something.
Yeah, I said that about Carvalho as well, saying I said it more against Bournemouth when he was starting the bench. Like, if we are going to give Carvalho the time, give him last half an hour so he can actually get into it.
He's not an impact player, is he? And he's not. He needs to be given 5 games on the trot, then judge him. But the fact is, who's doing anything? People say he doesn't do enough, but honestly, if you analysed every other player, none of them do any more, do they? Really, And truthfully, I don't think a lot of them are given enough time in the right way. Johnson will play one, not play one, play half a game. Not be in the squad, play a whole game, play half a game. They all need a little bit of perseverance and to feel sort of comfortable and get into the role and get to know their teammates. But there's, I don't know, he chops and changes the same thing all the time, sort of thing. You know, a lot of the most successful teams, you know, the team every week in, week out, and you see one or two changes, you know, like when Leicester won the league, you know, had like 14 players in the old days. I know the game's changed, but what you want is you want a first 11 that kind of picks itself, and then 4 or 5 people off the bench who can really change the game, or you can pick them now and again when they, you know, you need something slightly different. But like I say, I really don't know. In the last year, I don't know what he's learned about any of his players. I don't, you know, that's the thing that frustrates me. I'd like to think, well, he knows Mice and he can trust him. He knows how to use him. He's using him wisely. Like even Sabri obviously did something wonderful with Matty Cash. And so that was a big plus. But any of the wins we've had with the kids playing, like this week, I think they all came through the test really well. And that was a big plus and great sort of for them to have played against players of that level. It's been more by luck than judgment. And that, you know, personally, there was a lot of people that were upset about the way we lost, but we got to 70 minutes and okay, we rode our luck, but they all performed decently. You couldn't honestly say any of them really had a bad game, which they could have been torn to shreds, especially the fact it was such a young defence. They could have been absolutely destroyed in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Finn Bat especially grew into that game against Podence as well, because I mean, our Wolves did play as well. I mean, looking up, Ophar came into his own.
Yeah, no, back, he always finishes the game a lot better than he starts it, I feel. You know, at the beginning you can tell he's nervous and stuff like that, but he's so brave. He'll miss the odd thing, he'll get caught out of position now and again, but you know, it's 100% balls out sort of, and at the end of the day he ends up, you know, winning out, I think, from what we've seen so far anyway. So I think he's got a big future.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Would you start Ophar tomorrow instead of Samba?
Oh, well, that's an interesting one. Well, he's an excellent keeper, I've got to say. I'm not necessarily convinced about all this competition. You know, it's great to have 2 brilliant keepers. It's kind of a shame whichever one doesn't play. It's like the old Clements and Shilton days where it was unfair on kind of, but it was a shame they're out at the same time. I wouldn't have a problem really either way, but I don't know. I wouldn't change it tomorrow, to be honest. I think Samba's taken a hell of a lot of stick for not that much. Yeah. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the league without a shadow of a doubt, and I think the Yank could be too. So you know, I don't know. It's a tricky one. That's a 50-50 one. I don't think it's going to make much difference either way. That one. The more important thing is the mix in the midfield, which is what has been our whole problem for the last year, and it's still a problem. And I actually don't think Garner is necessarily the solution. However good a player he is, I don't think he's necessarily the right kind of player. So it's kind of a PR easy win, get him back. He's a great player, blah, blah, blah. Whether it will help the team. We only came 17th with him playing brilliantly last year, and there's no reason to suspect he'll repeat it. You know, these young kids, we've seen the likes of Dowell and so forth appear and look like world beaters for 2 games. You think, wow, this is incredible play. And then by the end, he can't kick a ball straight for Toffee for about the last 20 games he plays for you. And you just think, what's happened? But that's what, you know, that does happen with players, you know. And so I don't know. Personally, I don't think he's necessarily the right player we need. But having said that, I think the whole season's pretty much a write-off already. We're not going to get promoted. We're not going to get in the top 6. Hopefully, we're not going to get relegated. So this season, we have to prepare for next season. And I hope in a year's time, we're not saying, well, we're still not creating chances. I want to say, look, we're scoring for Toffee. You know, we'll worry about stopping the odd one. It's a lot easier that way because you need to win games in this league. You're never going to get out of it. And that's what I don't understand. If Houghton does it absolutely perfectly, we're going to, you know, draw every week and get the odd win. And it's not enough. You know, you draw every week, you get relegated. You know, you got to win, draw. You got to win now and again. And, you know, he just doesn't attack enough for me.
Yeah, I completely agree. What do you think the score will be tomorrow?
Well, if I was going to bet money on it, I think I'll bet 0-0 probably. But But like I say, I think there's equal chance of one. I fancy us to nick it 1-0 just because, you know, that would be typical of us sort of thing. Really, we should win. But, you know, all things being equal, I say we'll win 1-0. But, you know, anything really could happen. And I think he will keep it tight. It's going to be a horrible, boring game. And it's going to be down to the odd incident, same as normal. So let's say win 1-0. Let's try and be positive.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And that's it, Matt, for coming on.
All right, wonderful. Well, I'll see you at the game tomorrow or whatever, probably.
Yeah.
With a bit of luck.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, this time tomorrow we'll all be scratching our head about who he's picked and whatever, what's going to happen. So only 24 hours to go, and yeah, hopefully 1-0. We'll take that.
Fingers crossed.
All right, nice one, Dan. Anyway, nice to talk to you. Take care. Bye for now.
Bye. Right, so thanks for watching, and goodbye.